What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another exclusive interview. I am joined today by two very, very special guests. They are the owners now of Progress Wrestling, formerly known as WWE's Nikki Cross and Killian Dain. Please welcome my guests, Nikki Storm and Big Damo. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing
Good.
fabulous. We're doing awesome. We're in Manchester right now.
Manchester, England, doing seminars for Future Shock Wrestling. We're here for 4 days, and we have been sweating it up all day,
Oh
haven't we?
yes, oh yes. We've just wrapped up on day two, so two more days, and it's such a great group. So yeah, we're really excited. We're happy.
For sure. And I did want to jump right into it because both of you guys are the brand new owners, I would say, of one of the absolute greatest independent wrestling promotions from across the pond from where I'm located, Progress Wrestling. What went through your head when you decided to take this promotion over and kind of, yeah.
Well, obviously, had to bring it up to Nikki, and she was like, "What?" So
It was like what, 2 days after I'd gotten the call.
it was pretty tight turnaround.
So yeah, it was like, 2 days later, and Dame was like, right, so since your schedule's freed up, no, he was like, how do you feel about this? And we thought about it, and it was the right fit. It was the right time, and it was the right fit. We're the right people for the job.
Yeah, we're learning on the job as well. Like I have experience. I was a promoter before, like before WWE a long time ago, at a smaller level. So this has been, eye-opening. But we have a great staff. We've got a great roster of talent. And Nikki and I are just enjoying the experience so far.
Yep.
Yes, there's been a few sleepless nights, and there's been a couple of anxious days. But no, genuinely, it's been such an eye-opener for us because, obviously for me personally, I'm 41 years old, so my career realistically only has a few years left. Nikki might have a bit longer, but after then what? Like I always thought I would go into coaching, but this is something that has came about at a really cool time in our careers. A little early, sure, but when an opportunity comes, you kind of have to take it, and it just worked out. The everything aligned, didn't it?
It
So.
was the stars aligned. It just felt very serendipitous, the timing. And, Damo said it best. We have a great team at Progress. The talent is there. Do you know what I mean? We want to make Progress Wrestling the number one independent in the world, and we've got the talent to do it.
We have a long way to go.
We've
First of
got,
all, there are some incredible independents here up at the top right now, and we have a long way to go. But it's one of those things, we have this great staff, we have this great roster. We would be fools not to be able to take it any
yeah,
further. So we are going to shoot for the stars, and if we miss, then at least we'll get to the clouds.
you know.
And that's one thing I really do love about Progress Wrestling, especially since you guys took it over. I'm so used to seeing the roster how we've seen it for like years before you guys came in, but I was introduced specifically to Cyan Noonan and Daz Black in their singles match, which was one of the best singles matches of the year that I've seen, and it was just fantastic. But what has it been like to kind of put this roster together and not only keep a lot of the same names, but also show some fans new, fun, up-and-coming stars that the UK scene has to offer?
Well, I've been very lucky, with the last 5 years since I left WWE. I've worked for all these incredible companies across the world, really.
Yeah.
And I've ran into a lot of these wrestlers, like you said about Cian Noonan and Daz Black. I've wrestled on shows with both of them, so I've kept an eye on them, thinking I'll put them forward for anybody who's looking for talent. And then I realized, oh shit, that's me.
Yeah, this is us.
So an opportunity came up on our first show, that we could potentially do another match, and I was like, right, I'm going to grab these two guys, as quickly as possible, and we're going to use them, where we possibly can. They add to an already brilliant roster, and we've brought back a couple of other talents. And now we're looking into the next stages. We've got this awesome tour coming up in September, and we're able to bring in Malachi Black and Zelina,
Yes.
which is pretty cool. And we've brought Trent Seven back to Progress, and we were just really excited to bring Myla Grace over,
Yep.
who's just left TNA.
Chili Ray.
Kaylee Ray,
No.
fresh out of WWE. So, and then Leah Rush is one of the kind of top guys kicking around now. He's really found his form, and we're delighted to have him. So
Yeah.
we've been very lucky in that we've had a lot of awesome wrestlers in situ, and then we've been able to bring in others, we're very lucky we've got a lot of friends in the business. Like my friends Mansour and Mason are coming over
MXM
off
collection.
a
Oh
flight
yeah.
from India. They're going to come and join us, which is mental for two of our shows. But that's what has been really cool is we're able to add these in so easily to our roster because we've got such a diverse roster anyway, that they can be put into so many different scenarios and they don't look
Yeah.
out of place against all these former WWE or AEW talents. So it is very cool for us. Like we've been able to, Nikki was able to watch online our first show in Manchester, and then she was there for our second show in July in person. So she got to actually experience it two different ways, which was very cool. So she got to experience it as an online fan and then experience it properly in person. So you've had a really cool run of it, haven't you?
It's been incredible because you 10 years away and you keep your eye on things, and it's such a truly exciting time because I'm coming back as a co-owner. I'm also coming back as an independent professional wrestler, so I'm going to get to like wrestle this amazing British women's wrestling right now. And for a long time, like it's been the talent's been there and it's been a hotbed for women's wrestling. So now I get to jump head first into that, and then we also get to bring these talents on board and give them a platform, maybe talents who haven't been seen a
Yeah.
lot yet, and we get to do that platform, and the Progress fans are going to get to come with us and just enjoy, really enjoy these talented amazing performers.
Like we're able to scout effectively on every show we go to.
Yeah.
So, and Nikki came back from Germany there, a few weeks ago and was like, "You need to look at this Jane Nero."
Yeah.
Who-
I was like, we need Jane Nero. So we're kind of
So
scouting.
so we have like a list of people we want to bring in next and next and next. So it has been very cool, but we already have this awesome group who are already there, especially amongst the women's roster. And Nikki's now going to get a chance to muck in with them,
Yeah.
which is even better. So
Stuck in.
Oh yeah.
whereas I've already done 5 years of getting beat up by the Progress young ones, so now I can relax for a
And the
bit.
girls beating you up.
Yeah, I'm super excited about what you have coming up too in progress. And I have to ask you guys both, for fans over in the United States, myself included, or wherever they're watching this from all around the world, what would you tell them about why they should check out the UK independent wrestling scene and more specifically Progress Wrestling?
Well, honestly, like we're in this situation where there's so many talent who've come through in the last 10 years. So obviously for Nikki and I, we were away. So there was ones who were maybe the next batch behind us, but the next two batches after them, the next two generations of talent have been even better than the generations before. This group who are available right now in Britain are better than the group that we were a part of.
Yeah.
They probably have more skill than us. It's now just about getting eyeballs on them. So that's been one of our kind of modus operandi is, okay, we want more eyes on Progress, more eyes on these amazing talents. And thankfully that seems to be paying off. But for anybody who wants to know what there is in Britain, it has the three ring circus. There's a bit something for everybody.
Yeah.
If you like a bit of comedy, there's fucking plenty of it. You like strong style pro wrestling, that's more my bag. There's a lot of it, but there's everything in between. Obviously, European technical wrestling, we've got that. We've got
High
the
flying.
brawling, everything. Yeah, especially the high flyers. There's some brilliant young cruiserweights coming through as well. So, and what's even better right now, there seems to be like this new glut of heavyweights coming through, which is something that has been, it's been a while. Like obviously a lot of us left, so
Yeah.
it's really refreshing. I get to come back and I'm starting to see lads who are like really ready to take it over. And I'm like, oh no, they're going to batter me, but it's okay. So,
Oh,
we're,
boy.
we're very excited because we do see like our philosophy is the three ring circus. Yes, we want to have a bit of everything. We want the acrobats, we want the clowns, we want the
So,
strong men.
uh,
You know what I mean? We want a bit of everything, and thankfully, we have that at our disposal. So if you're wanting to get into British wrestling, buckle up because you're about to see some of the best wrestling on earth right now, especially at Progress.
Yeah, and what I love is I'm so grateful we've got the Hooked On Wrestling, the streaming subscription service, and it's not just you've got Progress on there, but you've got over 20 companies from all over the world. So
As far as China and
yeah,
America, USA, there's companies from all over who've don't brought their content to us, and that's also helped us, have a bit of extra scouting as well because you're able to keep an eye on a talent. You're like, where the hell did these guys come from? And that's what's so cool about obviously how the internet has changed like how makes the world so much smaller. But Hooked on Wrestling is we're getting to see it right up in person because it's literally smacking us in the face. So
Yeah. There's the back catalogue, there's
yeah,
streaming
yeah,
the progress shows live, you've got interviews, you've got the best of, do you know what I mean? So for fans that when we announced Malachi Black coming to Edinburgh, Leeds, and Manchester for the Odyssey Tour, now they can go and watch the best of Malachi Black
in
on progress.
progress. Yeah,
So it's such an incredible time, and so yeah, buckle up.
yeah.
Yeah. And you spoke about it a little bit there. Progress Wrestling can be found on Hooked on Wrestling, the streaming service, which super new. I love it though. Big fan of Hooked on Wrestling. I believe their entire library can be found on there as well, for the most part. What would you tell fans about why they should really subscribe to Hooked on Wrestling and kind of go down that rabbit hole, which I definitely recommend doing because I did it. But yeah.
Well, obviously, like, we're in this weird situation where there's been like, slight problems with some of the streaming services over the last couple of months, maybe the last 6 months. We're in a really good position because, our service has been flying. And obviously, at the timing of us coming on board, our subscribers are really growing. So it has been awesome. And we thank everybody for the support.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, because there is such a diverse amount of like companies on there, if you like family wrestling, there's family wrestling shows on there. If you like, a bit more of the hardcore, there's hardcore on there
Yeah.
too. So, it's quite a cool mix. And like more importantly for us, it's like being able to introduce, all these incredible companies from worldwide, which maybe wouldn't necessarily have been seen. I said about China, for example, like, the fact that there's a company that from China involved is mental, but we love it because it's just so unusual, so different. And like this is them in their infancy effectively. So, what are they going to be like in a year? What are they going to be like in 2 years? That's what we're really excited about. So, and there's also some old friends of ours who are on there as well, like from up in Scotland, from when we were independent.
W3L,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
W3L.
So it's been a lot of fun for us to go through it, and it is something that Nikki got to experience it properly, because she had to use Hooked on Wrestling to
Yeah.
stream live our first show. So
Yeah, I was sitting there with the two chihuahuas, Princess Sabrina and Prince Mac.
Yeah.
And it was, because I couldn't be there in person. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh. And then I was able to watch the stream and, let them know like about lights or anything like that and really enjoy it as a fan and tweet along and like it was a really fun experience. And the beautiful thing is with a subscription stream like that, you can introduce whatever content. So you have exclusive interviews. We're putting the best in the Galaxy Diaries on there. Do you know what I mean? And it's basically been my journey from when I left WWE in April all the way up to that very first show at the Electric Ballroom that I was able to be at in person July 26th. So we're going to get to experiment with like really cool content and types of content, documentaries, or there's going to be space to like really grow it. So yeah. So,
honestly, it's one of those weird things where we're able to come up with an idea and then just go for it. And,
yeah.
and worst comes to worst, people won't watch it.
So right, it's
Yeah.
it's not keeping up with the Kardashians. It's the best of the Galaxy Diaries.
But you guys are absolutely killing it. The next show that is coming up before we get to the September tour will be on August 31st when Progress Wrestling presents Wrestling Over Everything. And Nikki, you will be going one-on-one with the designer doll herself coming all the way from Australia, Frankie B, who is somebody who I love because she's becoming a worldwide name, as she should be, because the talent is absolutely there. What is your mindset heading into this one and seeing Frankie B just make her way to the UK and to England?
It's exciting for me because I'm looking at it as a co-owner. This is for all the reasons you said. That's why we're bringing it to progress. But I need to look at it from a wrestler point of view and as a competitor point of view, and being able to get stuck in there again with the best talent in the world. Like that's something I can sink my teeth into, and she's the designer doll versus the best in the galaxy. So I'm looking at this like I want to have the best match on the show. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it from that wrestler standpoint. And it's almost like I'm still, I'm basically going back to being Nikki Storm, the best in the galaxy. And how do you I haven't been this character for 10 years. So how is this going to hold up against people in 2026? It's going to hold up really well because of how talented I am, you know? And Frankie
So
B,
modest as well, yeah.
modest. And I think, this is why it's exciting because we're giving Frankie B that platform. And she's going to bring more eyes onto us, people, the Australians that have followed Frankie B's career.
And
And
she's also had, some matches and stuff as well with Ring of Honor and stuff. So it's like another opportunity for her to, kind of cut her teeth in Britain. So,
yeah,
these are fantastic rosters. So, hopefully it's a, good opportunity for her, good experience, and, she'll be able to get a lot from it as well. So, and I know that we're heading towards a sold out show there at the ballroom. So we're
yeah,
very excited. Like the response has been incredible.
yeah.
Everybody's looking forward to seeing Frankie B and Nikki tear it up. So.
You
Yeah.
know, it's exciting. Yeah, it's I keep saying that, but it genuinely is. Like there's so many exciting things happening, and that was cherry on top yesterday. We announced myself versus Frankie B. So Frankie B, you better bring it. You better bring it, girl. Mm.
I cannot
Mm.
I cannot wait for that one. And that will be live on Hooked on Wrestling, right?
Absolutely. It will be,
Yeah.
it'll be done wrestling. Yeah.
Awesome. And I have to ask you too, because right after that show, we will be kicking off the Odyssey Tour, which is gonna be
Woo, woo.
freaking insane.
Absolutely.
Starting off with September 4th through September 6th. September 4th will be in Edinburgh, September 5th in Leeds, and September 6th right back in Manchester. What are
All
your
right.
both of, yeah.
Can't get rid of it
What
in Manchester.
what are both of your mindsets heading into this weekend?
Yeah, survive.
So this show at the Edinburgh Corn Exchange on September 4th is so important because this is the first time Progress has ran in Scotland, and it's actually my first time wrestling in Scotland as Nikki Storm
In
in
10
over
years.
10 years. And I'm wrestling Myla Grace, who's someone that, like, from the very first moment I trained with her, like, I just felt
Click.
something. We clicked. And she's so, like, I really think so highly of her in-ring ability. She's got great presence, great charisma, a great look, great promos, and she's starting to really
We've been kind of mentoring her for a year or two, and pretty much everything we've said, she goes and then does way even outperforms anything
yeah.
like our ideas. So
So so special, and like to be back in Edinburgh where it's actually
we
where we when we first got together, and
that's where I was living.
he was living there. So, you take a girl from Glasgow who normally wouldn't, go to Edinburgh. I ended up falling in love with the city because that's where we fell in love and were dating. So there's something so
It's a cool
crucial
connection.
about Edinburgh, and we're pumped. And then we added, we announced Malachi Black last week, 2 days.
And we just announced that Malachi Black is taking on Dijak. So that's we were like, what's the biggest match we could possibly think of doing in Edinburgh? And
Besides Best in the Galaxy.
see, besides Nikki Storm, and genuinely, Dijak seemed like the perfect choice for Malachi Black's first match back in the independents, first match back in the UK, Europe, since from WWE and AEW. So we're over the moon, and like, listen, like they're going to tear it up. I actually watched them wrestle in NXT in 2018 on a random house show, and I was like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen. So I'm so excited to be able to promote it and put it on in Edinburgh. And I think the people of Scotland are going to be over the moon with that match.
Yeah.
We wrote in the blurb, we were like, this is probably going to be one of the best matches you'll ever see live, right? Because it is. So
Yeah.
so we're very excited, and I know that both competitors are over the moon that they're going to be facing each other again, which is awesome, and that is something that, like, we don't always you aren't always able to tick every box, you know what I mean? But this is one of those every box is ticked. Both guys are delighted about it. We're delighted about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's
And
delighted. So it's very awesome.
we've also got Leo Rush, the
Leah Rush and Charles Crowley are going to team up together, which against
it's gonna be wild.
a tag
Yeah.
team from Scotland, KOE, who are a cracking tag team
Yeah.
who I've trained. I trained the elder brother Paul. So it's going to be really interesting seeing how they get on, with with Leo and Crowley, two of the most bonkers characters. So
Oh,
that'll be interesting to say the least.
but that's the way, honestly, that's how you kick off the Odyssey Tour. That's how you
Absolutely,
kick it off.
absolutely. And here, and probably I'm not even sure we've announced this yet, but I don't really care. I can say what I want. Luke Gibbs will be taking on Mark Coffey, which will be awesome. That's two absolutely incredible wrestlers who haven't been able to to fight yet. So it'd be really cool to get Luke up in Scotland and have him against Mark Coffey will be awesome. Mark's again one of the lads who we trained a long time ago, who's just become this incredible wrestler. He's now opened a training school just outside of Glasgow in Scotland. So he's really like looking forward to the next generation, helping the next generation. So for him against Luke will be awesome to host for us. We're delighted about that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta say,
Wow. Ooh.
I gotta say it's crazy because Luke Jacobs was actually the guy who got me into Progress Wrestling, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need to go down this rabbit hole and find out every single thing like about this guy and about
It's
Progress
incredible.
because one of the best matches, well, that I ranked the best match of last year was Luke Jacobs versus Michael Oku in Vegas
Oh yeah.
because that was what a freaking match. And then that was like one of the first Progress shows I got to see live. After that, I just sank my teeth in it. I just went down that rabbit hole, and
Nice stuff.
I was like, wait, Ilya used to be here. Holy crap, Walter! Like, I was like, holy shit. And I was like, I love it. But of course, I can't bring up that weekend without bringing up the match that you guys mentioned as well, Malachi Black versus Donovan Dijak on Friday, September 4th. Because so when I talked about going down that rabbit hole, I watched some matches from Tommy End, but pre-WWE. I've always been a fan of Aleister Black in WWE, don't get me wrong, and Malachi Black in AEW. But I feel like there's a lot of fans who are going to kind of see him compete on the indies and are going to be like, I didn't know that he was this like insane and right because that guy is
It's
crazy.
incredible. He's like
Yeah.
he's a martial artist as well. Like I think people forget this, a lot of the time because he's super agile as
Yeah.
well, and everything he does is so intricate and so incredible. Like his brain works way faster than everybody else's. So it'll be so awesome for him to be able to kind of bring this new energy that that he's really excited to bring with him to Scotland. And he actually spent a lot of time in Scotland, so this actually means a little bit to him as well. So this will be a lot of fun for us because we're going to be able to see him just go and enjoy it again.
Yeah.
That's something that like Nikki's just done. Is something that I did 5 years ago. So like one of the when we got speaking to him, we were like, listen, we just want you to go out there and just have a ball. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's exactly what we're going to ask of him. And I know that Dijak is definitely going to be the right person. Dijak is firing on all cylinders. You're seeing him everywhere. He's at MLW. He's all over the world, effectively. I'll be on a show in India with him in the middle of September as well. So, he's literally everywhere. He's incredible talent. I think in my opinion, he's probably the best heavyweight kind of kicking around at the minute. I think
Yeah.
he's absolutely incredible. He's got himself into the best shape of his life as well. His promos are on fire. So like, he's like ticking every box himself, as a talent. So we're just delighted to get him at this point,
Yeah.
where he is doing so bloody well. So yeah, it just seems to have all came together really nicely. I wish it was, all part of the plan, but it kind of all fell into place in this way more than anything, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I have to say I love as a big guy myself, I love seeing big men wrestle like big men because I'm 6'8" and like 300 pounds, 300
There you go.
50 pounds. So like, kind of seeing that now. Like we kind of sometimes don't see that because nowadays a lot of people do need to have the flips and do the and don't get me wrong, Dijak is a master
I
of
can do all of it.
callback.
That's the
He can do
problem.
all but like he's really one of the best big men around today because he's a great callback and so are you, Big Damo as well. Like you guys are great callbacks to like the big men of old who are like who actually like struck fear in a lot of people, like The Undertaker, like Kane, like Vader. You know what I mean? So how important is it for you to kind of see him as well do his thing on the indies?
Like I love it because he's Dijak is beyond passionate. So like if he sees somebody that he wants to help, he's literally like, right there straight away. And like there's just if there was more people like him kicking around, like the scene would be even better. You know what I mean? But we're just blessed that there's somebody like him there in the northeast of the USA because he's working every week. 3-4 days a week. He's getting to see the best kind of young talent kicking around and. He's very quick to put people over. I'm in like 4 group chats with him, right? And he's forever putting people over, which is pretty cool because, like, to have that kind of positivity, in wrestling is what we kind of need. We've went through these periods. When I first started wrestling, it was very negative. That's just the way it is. And obviously coming out of COVID, everybody was on a downer. So it's awesome. A few years later, where everybody's coming up. I just feel like we're in the middle of it, like we've just kind of started like a bit. I was
Resurgence.
going to say a boom period, in terms of independent wrestling, especially in the UK. And I think USA is starting to catch up again as well, which is awesome. USA's had a few years ago, I thought they were flying, and there's been a little dip, but I've heard some good news from companies that are coming through that that's going to be a little growth spurt again there as well. So which is pretty cool. And mainland Europe is really awesome right now. France is just absolutely blowing up.
Germany.
Yeah, Germany's one of the most consistent across and like has been for the last like 10 years. But then also like the lads coming out of Italy are starting to look really good. So like there's just we've kind of been really blessed. Like everything's kind of firing in a lot of countries across across Europe, which means there's more talent as well. So like we're quite excited because we're going to be able to start doing like joint shows with places in Germany
Yeah.
and all these kind of places. Like one of my favorite companies is OTT in Ireland, so we're looking forward to trying maybe work it out with them.
I love
And
OTT
Nikki made
because
her re-debut with OTT, which was awesome. So
that was my first night back. That was when the non-compete ended. OTT was my first stop, and um it was such an amazing crew. And I really like as my first match back, like I was able just to go out. I was able to go out there with Damo. We did a mixed tag against the Weirdos, and it was so much fun. And it was after dark. It was over 18s. Nothing, the whole thing is no one's announced and everyone's a surprise. And it was just, and then we just did
great energy.
great energy, and then something that you feed off of. And then we just did OTT there in
My
Belfast,
hometown.
in your hometown. I mean, they still loved me, Damo. They still loved me. But the OTT has it's been. I'm so proud that two of my first matches back within my first month have been at OTT, and it's an amazing crew, and I'm excited for Progress to work more with
Oh,
them.
absolutely, absolutely.
Same with Future Shock in Manchester.
Yeah,
Like
there's so many great companies kicking around right now. So, and like the beauty of me being out for the last 5 years, I've been able to go and meet them. So, there's great company in Germany ran by, one of our best friends, Alexander Wolf, Axel Tischer. They call TAW in Germany that we're looking forward to getting out there at the start of next year. So, that we and the beauty is there's just so many other ones that we've been wanting to talk to and wanting to link up with. So it's been a really cool experience for me, and now Nikki's getting to do it herself. So I'm very excited to see how she enjoys some of them.
And we're actually, after 10 years of like never really being on the same schedule, we're actually going to Spain. We're doing Spain and Italy together in
With
November,
NWE.
NWE. So that'll be, I've not been to Spain and Italy in a wee while.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm really happy, it's very fulfilling. It's really
Yeah.
fulfilling.
And something I will give you a lot of credit for, Nikki, as well, is you're wasting very little time at sinking your teeth back into the indie scene because a lot has changed since you've been gone, since you've been. And I was talking to Gacy about this too recently because I got to see him live, and he's just phenomenal talent. Great to see him back and doing his thing. But the first leg of the Odyssey tour, you will be facing off with Myla Grace, Alexxis Falcon, and Kaylee Ray.
Mm.
And I gotta say, Alba Fire, I loved Alba Fire in WWE, right? But once again, similar to Aleister Black, Kaylee Ray is a whole different monster, a whole different ball game. What is your mindset looking at these three opponents, looking at this weekend, and kind of seeing like, you knew Kaylee Ray in WWE, but this is a different Kaylee Ray that we see now as well.
Known Keely a long time.
And I've known Kelly for 18
18
years.
years.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how excited I am for this match. Kaylee's one
I'd
of the
say,
best wrestlers in the world.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and she gets to like show the world that, do you know what I mean? And for myself, when I look at those three opponents, Myla Grace, Alexxis Falcon, and Kaylee Ray, like for me, I'm coming in as Nikki Storm, the best in the galaxy. When you call yourself the best in the galaxy, you kind of given yourself a big name to live up to. So for me, like the chip in my shoulder, like that never left. Do you know what I mean? Like I might have been gone off the scene for 10 years, but that drive never leaves you. That passion never leaves you. So for me, like I'm looking at this Scott, like um I've really got a lot to prove. Do you know what I mean? Like not really. I don't really care about anyone else in that way. Do you know what I mean? I need to prove it to myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, in that, I'm looking at these matches like I'm trying to reclaim, my top spot on the independent scene. You know what I mean? And like, the last 10 years, the scene has progressed, pardon
Wait.
the, no,
She said it.
the
She
scene,
said the
the
thing.
scene, scene's progressed so much in the last 10 years. So like it's a challenge, and it's a challenge I'm putting on myself. Do you know what I mean? To be the same Nikki Storm that left 10 years ago. That Nikki Storm is now back, and it's a massive point to prove, and it's a chip on my shoulder. But like I've always had that chip on my shoulder. That's why I ended up getting to where I got, and this is why I'm where I am at this industry. I've got this wealth of experience and everything I've just learned over the last 10 years, but also the last 18 years. And now I get the chance to prove that, and I get to prove it against the best. So there's nothing cooler than it. Do you know what I mean? And I've got a lot to prove. Like I said, you can't call yourself in the best in the galaxy and not deliver. So this is on me to deliver, not just as not even just as the co-owner of Progress. I've got a lot to prove here as an independent wrestler again. And there's a lot to sink my teeth into. And those three talents, like, you know, we're in for a treat. Those fans at Leeds, the fans in Edinburgh, the fans at Manchester, like that's a dream match. Myself and Kaylee, because we both got into wrestling at the same time. We both went to Japan. We both went to Shimmer. Both wrestled in all over the world and we're almost like competing against each other and pushing each other, like to be inspire each other to be better. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we
Yeah.
were always kind of chasing each other. And then we both ended up in WWE, and now we're both back on the scene. And I think we both, again, like we're competing against each other in the healthiest, what's the word I'm looking for? Like we're both back to challenging each other. And I think that's when you're going to get to be the best, is when you're pushing each other. And like I said, she's one of the best in the world. You know what I mean? And Alexxis Falcon, like
Former champion.
Yeah.
Alexxis
Oh,
Falcon,
she'd like that even more if you called her Alexis champion.
he would
She
love
would
that.
actually really
But,
enjoy that.
it pops me, like her personality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like we've got so many dream matches now I get to tick off. These girls that I've spent the last 10 years watching, I get to compete against them now. And I have my own bunch of dream matches that I now get to work through, and the fans get to enjoy that with me. I couldn't ask to be in a better position, Scott.
Yeah.
Do you feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Oh,
you
don't.
agree?
Jeez, you need
Yes. Yes, I am so excited for those shows, for those three matches particularly are going to be amazing. And I have to say too, the Odyssey Tour will conclude on September 12th and September 3rd, September 12th in Bournemouth, September 13th in Birmingham. Uh, you know, one of the matches announced, there's a lot of great matches announced for these shows already, but one of the matches I'm so convinced we might see a dead body, and that is Leo Rush versus Spike Trivet, because I don't know what these guys are gonna do. Leo Rush is, I don't know, he says he's fine, but like he's terrible.
to.
I don't know if he's fine, man, but
He knows. He knows.
listen, we
He
love
knows.
Leo. Like,
Yes,
He knows.
he knows.
you know.
It's fine.
No, honestly, like Spike Gervais is like kind of like a man possessed right now. He's in the shape of
Yeah.
his life.
Yep.
He just finally, paid the feud with Bullet, the blood feud that they had, like ended in July. Hopefully, that's the end of that.
Yes.
Uh, but he managed to come out the other end, and he's kind of found this persona that's working for him. I think he was on a bit of an apology tour for a while, but now he's owning it. Now he's owning his mistakes, and he's ready to be unleashed again on the world. On August 31st, he's got a hell of an opportunity against, an old foe in Cara Noir. But in the tour, when it comes against Leo Rush, maybe that match could be for the Progress World title. Who knows? So, but I imagine with those two, the athleticism they both have, like, and even like the strikes, everything else, they're going to be able to put on a hell of a show, and that's in Bournemouth, which is even better. So, this is a debut for us in Bournemouth. I was there a long time ago for ICW, so it'll be very cool coming in. As part of
Long
the
time
new
ago.
a long time as part of the new Progress. So it'll be very cool to bring like a match of that kind of standard, and like it'll pretty much set the tone for the rest of the show.
Yeah, and we've got Birmingham as well,
Oh yeah,
so and we've just announced today, we just announced Trent
Trent.
Seven.
Yes. I
Climb
saw
back.
that.
Trent is like one of my best friends in wrestling. He's a bloody nightmare at the same time, but an absolute incredible talent, and he is probably one of the best kind of main event wrestlers kicking around, and the fact that he's available here in Britain is madness to me. I'm amazed that he's available to us. Like if I always say, if I was running a big company, I'd be using him. Well, I am,
Yeah.
so I will. I will.
Yeah.
I will.
And then,
Sure.
Trent, when I came down, when I was at OTT, that was the first night I was back. I came down the stairs to get picked up to go to the OTT show, and no one knew, no one knew I was going to be there. And the first person I saw was Trent, and he just gives me this big hug, and like, just to hear him say, "Hiya, Babs," and you're like, it's just it was such I really like that being the very first person I saw. It was just really nice. You know what I mean? It was really nice. And then I'll be doing Bournemouth and Birmingham as well. So I'm pumped, and we're it's going to be like a 5-day tour
Of madness,
of
yes.
madness. And I can't wait to see those fans because I always really loved Bournemouth. Like I loved that area. We would go there for WWE, NXT as well, and I really love that area. In Birmingham, we've got some really good friends from Birmingham. So it's I'm really excited for those 5 cities. Obviously Edinburgh because I'm Scottish, but when it comes to like Leeds, Manchester, Bournemouth, and Birmingham, like I really enjoy all of those cities. So
And we're going to make a little bit more of a bigger deal on Manchester because it's the venue that we've used to stream many times. So we're going to be streaming that live on Hooked on Wrestling as well.
the
So
Manchester
yeah,
show.
we're going to be announcing some really mega matches in the next couple of days. So I
Keep
think
your eyes
I
tuned.
think people will be very happy.
Eyes
Well, now will all those shows be live or just in Manchester and the rest will be recorded?
Just Manchester. We'll be filming the other ones, which will come on Hooked on Wrestling the week after. But
Okay.
Manchester is 100%,
live.
storyline based and everything else. So
Okay.
L-I-V-E. We've got
now
trips.
there will be yeah, there will be story beats in the other shows as well. But like Manchester will be specifically live and it will be awesome. But yes, Nikki's right. There's one of the stars of the TV show here in the UK, The Traders. Faraz has really taken like a duck to water to wrestling, so he's going to be making his wrestling debut
Yeah,
in
He's
Manchester.
just, it's
I love
clicked.
that.
You know what I mean? It's
He
like he
just
loves
loves
it.
it. He's
Like
he's the biggest fan of wrestling,
he's
and
got the bug.
yeah, he's got the bug. So he's got the bug. So he's going to be teaming with Simon Miller against Nathan Black and Scott Oberman. So that'll be a bit of nonsense that everybody will be able to enjoy. So
Yeah, we love all of those guys,
oh,
like
absolutely.
Simon Miller, like the videos he puts out on
Oh,
social media, like he's
we adore Simon Miller,
he
and
really,
there's so much talent there. He's really came on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years. Like it seems to be really clicking for him in ring, but out of the ring, like he's absolutely incredible. Like we see him all the time. He's so funny and everything
oh,
else. So,
so charismatic.
oh yeah,
So yeah, the Odyssey tour is going to be lit, as the kids say today. Lit,
Yeah.
Lit.
do the kids say it?
I don't know if the kids say it. I don't know. I don't know, Damo. I'm still trying to get used to TikTok. Do you know what I mean? Like,
The most I got is like LOL or BRB.
Yeah,
I can
no,
give
that
you
sounds
that.
about right. That
that's
sounds
pretty much it.
right.
ROFL, rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Very good. You're doing great, Hen.
Thank you so much, sweetie.
So looking ahead for you guys, what are your goals for Progress Wrestling as a whole?
I think, we want to continue to give the platform to up and coming talent as well. We want to keep that 3 ring circus. We want a little bit of everything, right?
We want the aggression up. That is
The
something
intensity,
that
the
has been
aggression.
that has been is kind of my major thing that I'm wanting to see because like there's been some brilliant matches. 1 or 2 matches will have that really balls to the wall. Kind of want that to be like 6 matches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of grit,
Yeah,
because when you think about British wrestling, when you think about European wrestling, right?
Dave
You
Finlay and everybody else.
think about the grit, and I love the soap opera element, right? I love the outlandish characters, right? Like
She really does.
I really love the over the topness. Like I loved Sunset Beach when I was growing up. Like I love the big characters, but you need to balance that with this great,
Strong.
intense in-ring style. There needs to be a balance. Do you know what I mean? I think, and that's what we're going to work on is that balance
Yeah.
because and then we want to continue to highlight the women's wrestling scene. Like I said,
We got a female owner.
you know what I mean? Do you feel me? Do you feel me? So we want to continue, highlight the up and coming talent, highlight the women's division. The tag team division is something,
That's one of our next kind of
we
port of
love,
calls that we
we
really
both
want to get on
love.
top of. Yeah.
I always love tag team wrestling. I love, bouncing off Sanity, bouncing off Alexa Bliss, bouncing off
Right.
Rhea Ripley, bouncing off the Wyatt Sicks. I always love bouncing off people. Tag team wrestling, like I was a tag team champion 3 times. I opened WrestleMania in 2020 and won the tag team championships from the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, who are two of the best wrestlers
Ever.
in the world, right? Asuka,
Ask is probably one of the best ever. Yeah.
and Kyrie, I had
Amazing.
so much fun wrestling Kyrie saying like because her and I we both have very we both love the wrestling, we both love our characters, the some real and we got to do some really fun stuff. Kyrie and me and Asuka and I obviously had that last woman standing match all those years ago in NXT match I'm still super proud of. So I love tag team wrestling, and so I think that's something as well we're going to continue to scout and find these amazing tag teams. We've got MXM collection for the Odyssey Tour. They're taking on Sunshine Machine
And Lycos Jim. Yeah.
in Lycos Gym. So the tag team wrestling, the women's wrestling,
And
up and
our
coming
goal
talent.
is, we've got this brilliant grounding in London, and we want to keep developing Manchester. Manchester means a lot to both of us for different reasons,
Mhm.
and then we want to try and using this tour to really see, well, like, is there a love for progress in these towns? Can we come back? Can we come back on a regular basis? And then we start looking at other towns, across the UK, maybe into Ireland, maybe into Europe, and there's a lot of promotions who've already reached out who want to maybe work together and put on joint shows across Europe and things like that, which we're very like excited about, very intrigued about. There's also been talk in Australia. There's been talk in USA as well. So we've
Japan
got
as well.
yeah, exactly. So
You know.
we've been we're very excited now. All this can't happen right away, but give us a couple of years, and
No.
really get
This
this going.
and honestly, like I know it's a cliche, but it's not a sprint; it is a marathon,
Yeah.
and we're in this for the long haul. So certain things are going to take time, but we are really looking for like collaboration and having these great working relationships from all over the world. Because when one company does well,
Everybody does well.
everyone does
Yeah.
well.
Rising
We
tides.
just want to see it does. Obviously we want progress shows to be the best, but we
Yeah.
just want shows everywhere. Like
To be
we
the best.
want OTT to have these amazing shows. We want Future Shock amazing shows. ICW, like we want
Rev Pro,
Rev Pro.
Riot Cabaret, everywhere.
Right,
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
we want the wrestling to be great everywhere because the people that win are the fans and the people that win are the talent, and that's what
we
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 want.
we were so blessed we came through the boom of British wrestling, like we were there on the ground for so many of those companies. Myself, it was with Rev Pro and ICW. For Nikki, it was with Eve and ICW, and with Shimmer in America and
And
Stardom in Japan. So there was so many of these amazing companies all like kicking ass at different times, and we feel it that it's coming again. Like I said earlier, that
yeah,
I feel like we're heading towards a
precipice.
boom. Yeah, on the precipice. I like that.
That's a
Maybe
great
that'll be
word.
the name of the next show.
That was a PhD word. That was a PhD word.
The precipice.
The precipice. But yeah, that was one thing. When I started going for Shimmer, they worked with other all women's companies or companies that would then put on all women's shows like um AIW in Cleveland, Ohio. Companies in Florida. So it was I benefited because I could, basically go on these tours and wrestle and all and that was based on these companies working together. So if we can do that for other talent and then the fans are the ones that benefit, British wrestling is in a great place. Scott, do you feel me?
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, you feel me?
Do you feel me?
Oh yeah, I love what you guys are building over there. And I have to ask you really quickly too, on top of wrestling, Nikki, you are a very accomplished pro wrestler, but you also recently got your PhD, which I love. I have the utmost respect for, as well as you started a newsletter called Notes from Nick, which is also available on Substack, which is also incredible. What did it mean for you to accomplish this goal on top of your wrestling career and kind of creating this newsletter letter as well that like all these different avenues in life, not just wrestling anymore.
From pretty much since I was like a little girl, I just was incredibly driven and incredibly ambitious. And it's just never really went away. And I just really like, for me, I always believe in being a well-rounded wrestler, but I also believe in being a well-rounded human being in person. So for me, with the newsletter, it's powered by Beehive. In the newsletter, actually, just a new issue went out today, on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Yeah, we're on Tuesday evening in the UK. So I saw the newsletter. I see it as a way to give back to fans because I really wouldn't be what I am now without the support of the fans. They've supported me for the last 18 years. They supported me for the last 10 years. And the newsletter is a way for me. First of all, it's a way to give back to the fans and just let them see a little bit of me because they've always seen me play these crazy characters: Sanity, Nikki, ASH, Abby the Witch, Bliss Cross Applesauce. Like they've seen me play characters, but I don't know if they really got to know me as the person. So I think this is a fun way to kind of reward them for supporting me and like me being able to give back and engage and interact and find out what they like. And it's helping my writing, because when you write for a newsletter, you're writing publicly, right? And you're doing it in a different way because when I'm in the middle of doing the PhD, so I'm, halfway down. So writing academically is different from writing publicly. And when you're writing about your academics publicly, again, that's a different challenge. So I feel like constantly I'm challenging myself and getting my brain working and I'm figuring out how to refine this. And there's been times where I've wrote something for my newsletter and it's then helped my thesis project. And vice versa, there'll be things where I'm writing for the thesis project that then I can talk about in the newsletter in a way that lets people know what my research is about in the journey that I'm on. And I just see as a way, I just want to give back to the fans because I wouldn't be what I am without their support. And I just, like I said, I believe in being a well-rounded person, and I've just always had that drive and ambition, and that's never went away. So I think it's just, keep, keep exploring, and it all ties in together. The PhD is about women's wrestling. The newsletter is, I'm going to be featuring independent women's wrestling. For this issue, top five. I asked someone taught some five questions. So you're putting that highlight on independent talent again. So for me, it all ties together, about best in the galaxy. You know what I mean? Like,
Scott, I apologize. I'm going to have to run, but Nikki will be able to answer another couple of questions.
yes.
Sorry. Yeah, man. I have to run to the next meeting. I'm so sorry.
Bye.
It was a pleasure to work with you. Thank you.
Bye. Oh, I'm so glad he's away.
Yes, sorry, I only have like a couple of questions left, but
I'm a chatterbox, so it's my fault.
you good. I would be remiss too if I didn't ask about one of my favorite factions ever, which honored, in my opinion, one of the greatest minds that this world has ever seen, Bray Wyatt. The Wyatt Sicks had such an amazing debut, such amazing group. You guys had insane chemistry, but what was it like really putting this all together and working with the whole group?
Yeah, it was an honor to be, Bray was such a visionary. And Bray had such an amazing creative mind. So, backstage, they would be like, okay, go get the Wyatts. Or I would hear someone say, where's the Wyatts? And it was such a sense of pride, and to be associated with the name Wyatt and getting to play someone like Abby the Witch, who, that was a character that, like, that kind of existed before I took on the role. And it really was a big responsibility that I really respected and appreciated. And I had a lot of, it really was like, I really see Gacy and Dexter, like it was really like a brotherly kind of, feeling. And we had that debut that just was, it was perfect. Do you know what I mean? And that moment gets to live forever. I get to be a part of that history forever. And I just think that's something so special. And I'm so grateful I got to be a part of it, and and I'm a big fan of horror, so getting to put on that makeup, put on that, like, the paint and the veins and the dirty white dress, and I got to be like in a horror movie every week. And as a big horror fan, again, I got to really enjoy it and explore what it was like to work with the mask and the relationship with the mask. And like, again, I got to explore so many different facets of that character. And you know, it is there's certain things that are just going to be embedded in my brain. You know, when we did that entrance in Paris and you had all the the lights. You know, I watched the video. Someone shared that video last week and I watched it and, you know, I got choked up. I got like, but in a really nice way. You know, it's like that gets to live forever and I'm so grateful that I got to be Abby the Witch,
Yeah.
you know, and be so attached to that character. And you know, there's just certain things that will just live forever and I'm grateful I got to be a part of that.
For sure. And I asked Joseph Sawyer this question as well, and I did want to give you the chance to answer it too. You guys had such an amazing run as the Wyatt Six. You guys had a blast. You guys crushed it every time you guys were on TV. I was hooked. I know that I was into it. I was into everything Bray Wyatt did. I was into everything Uncle Howdy did, the Wyatt Six as a whole did as well. And it seems like things kind of stalled out sooner than they should have. And I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but when I asked Joseph Sawyer this, he said, in his opinion, he didn't feel like everyone that it got like a great chance to develop like their characters outside of Uncle Howdy, outside of Taylor, which is understandable, I guess, because it is his group. But where would you say like things kind of took a turn and kind of went a little south for the Wyatt Six as opposed to like that debut was insane, but then you got moved to SmackDown, got moved to the tag division, which I enjoyed. I love Summer. I was at SummerSlam Live, which was amazing. But where would you say things kind of took a little bit of a turn there?
There was a lot beyond our control. And I think that's the there was a lot beyond our control. And I think there was you know, I'm still kind of process, still a lot, I'm still processing a lot as well. I think the thing I can say is like, I can look back on the last 10 years and be incredibly grateful, um, and be so fortunate with the opportunities I received. And I'm excited for the next 10 years, and this industry has given me so much. And the last 10 years, the last 18 years has been incredible. And I'm excited for the next 18 years. And, that there's,
Yeah.
the support we've had from the fans has been so um loving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the feedback from the fans, because I've been back on the scene now for about a month and I've had a lot of fans come up to me and talk to me about the Wyatts and share their love with the Wyatts. And it's been a really beautiful experience because they can talk to us about their memories of the Wyatts and what they got from the group and how we helped connect with them and how we reached them, and then they can start sharing stories about Bray and Luke Harper, and it's for myself, it's been really lovely hearing what fans, the connection they had with it. And that's what I'm focusing on is the support from the fans and how much, they loved it and how much what I want the fans to know is how much their support meant to us. Um, and we were, you know, pitching ideas, we're pitching ideas um a lot, and they helped keep us inspired. They helped keeping us their support and that that really drove us, and that really, like I said, the moments that were created that were so beautiful can never be taken away. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
Ever.
yeah.
So that's how I see it. I think there was there was the last 18 years was so crazy, and I can't believe I'm sitting here now. You know what I mean? When I think about the blessings that this industry has given me, when I think about the blessings that wrestling has given me, and now I get to create more memories and I'm my own boss now, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I'm in the driver's seat and I'm in charge. as a co-owner and being back on the independent scene. So, I get to now shape the next 18 years, which is what I'm focusing on.
For sure. And you guys were such a special group, and I have a lot of love, a lot of respect for everybody in that group, yourself included. So thank you for, everything you guys accomplished and, the magic you made on our television screens because it really was super special. So it was awesome to see from a fan standpoint too. I was hooked every time I saw something. So yeah, I was like, oh shit, I need to rewind this. I need to make sure I'm up to date with everything. So yeah, like because sometimes, yeah, but no, seriously, you guys absolutely crushed it. And I Gacy told me a couple of the ideas he had, and I was like, bro, I'm so pissed. I would have loved to have seen that because we were joking around about like the haunted house in Universal, and he was telling me he wanted to do something with DIY there. And I was like, that would have been so cool because like that house was sick, first of all. It was amazing. So a lot of
I'm
love for everything you guys did.
And I'm so glad the fans, they loved the Halloween Horror Nights house and, at Universal, like the feedback was so amazing for the house and that we got incredible feedback from the fans and the community in general. So that support, like it means the world. And there's still things that, there's still a lot I'm processing, because it was only, 5 months ago that what August, yeah, it was 4 months ago. So there's still things that there's still things we're processing, but I just can't help but have nothing but gratitude for the fans of the Wyatt Six,
Yeah.
the fans of Bray Wyatt, the fans of Luke Harper, um, Braun Strowman, that's another part of the Wyatt history. So I can't, the only thing I can feel in this moment as I'm talking to you is the gratitude towards the fans of the Wyatt Six. And that's what I hold on to. And that's what I'm thinking about is just that amount of support. And, that there was so much left on the table. And that for me is like that's the what do we do with that emotion? Do you know what I mean? There's so
Yeah.
much left on the table, right? So now we get to go out and prove to the world. We get to go out and show the world who we are, who Joseph Sawyer, who Samuel Shaw is, we get to Nikki Storm, Best in the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
We get to show the world now, and we get to do it, and we know we have the support of the White Six fans, and that feeling is unbeatable. We get to show the world now. We get to show the world our energy. We get to show the world these new, fresh characters. We get to go on this journey of exploration and discovery, and the fans, including the White Six fans, the fans of Nikki ASH, the fans of Sanity, the fans of the Bliss Cross Applesauce era, the fans of the Super Brutality era, they get to come on that journey with me now. And I think there's nothing more exciting than that, Scott.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the future, that's for sure. And if you want to answer this question for Damo as well, I want to know both your answers. But looking ahead, what are both of your future goals, like for yourselves in this crazy world?
For myself, for the if we're looking at it, we obviously talked about our goals for progress, and for myself, you know, I I was lucky enough, fortunate enough, I was fortunate enough to see the world before WWE, before I moved to America in 2016. I was lucky enough to see the world before WWE. I was then fortunate enough to be in WWE and get to travel the world with some of my best friends, and make these friendships with Sarah Schreiber, make these friendships with Julia, Candice LeRae. Like there was these people that I got to like spend time with and hang out with. And, if it wasn't for, being in WWE for 10 years, I wouldn't know, I might have met Julia in a different way. I might have met Sarah Schreiber in a different way, but the paths crossed. So I was fortunate enough to see the world when I was in WWE. Now I get to see the world again. So I want to go back to Australia. I want to go back to Japan. I got to do these incredible set of tapings with Maple Leaf Pro in Canada. And so like I want to see more of that. I just want to keep right. What's the next goal? right? And like I always say, like, if your dreams will scare you when they're if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough, you know. And I don't really like using the word dream, right? Because I do believe more in goals, in aims, in missions. But I do think there's a lot of truth in that. Like, you know, I want to be everywhere all at once. Do you know what I mean? And I want to balance that with being the best co-owner I can be for progress. I want to balance that with being getting my PhD and publishing the book about women's wrestling. You know, there's a lot of goals I have, and they're all kind of terrifying, but I also know I'll do it.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, for me, I want to see the world again because I, I'm not the same person I was when I was 23. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've got 10 years of experience on television now. And I've got 18 years of experience in this crazy industry. So I want to do the next 10 years and I want to see the world again because I see it through a different eyes. I'm wiser. Do you know what I mean? And that's important to me is like, you know, just continuing to have these experiences, continuing to push myself, whether it be pushing myself and learning new things as an owner, learning new things academically on this new, you know, academic research route, or pushing myself when I'm wrestling people like Kaylee Ray, people like Myla Grace, Alexxis Falcon, Rio. You know, I've got this long list of dream opponents that I want to wrestle. And I want to have these experiences and just continue like living every day to the fullest. And wrestling lets me do that. You know what I mean? So like I'm so blessed to be in this industry and be a part of it. And I met Damo, I met my husband through wrestling, you know, and it's just given me so much. And I just want to give back to the industry that's given me so much.
And the independent wrestling scene is alive and well all over the world, mainly the UK as well. We spoke a lot about America, Italy, anywhere in Europe, Germany. I know there's a lot of great names out there. Is there any names that you are looking around at that you would love the chance to square off with now that the world is at your fingertips?
Oh, I would love the chance to wrestle Athena again because Athena and I wrestled back in Shimmer and then we wrestled in NXT a bunch. Didn't really do a whole lot on on Raw and SmackDown together, but you know, Athena's someone, you know, again, an incredible talent. And we always had really amazing chemistry. So that's definitely someone, you know, we're wrestling for MPX in Texas on September 18th, you know, and I kind of jumped at the chance to, even though I'm not wrestling Athena on the show, I'm wrestling Vert Vixen for the MPX Women's Championship. The chance to work with Athena again in some capacity, I jumped at it. You know what I mean? So that's someone I definitely want to like lock up with again in the squared circle. Um, and you know, with Rio, you know, I've just named her. You know, Rio is someone I'm really wanting to. I really want to go against. Kyrie Sane. Do you know what I mean? Like I want. It'll be interesting. I would love to wrestle her. You know, on the independent scene in a completely different environment, in a completely different setting. I was able to wrestle Danny Luna, you know, recently, and that again, that was like you're a powerhouse. You know, getting thrown around everywhere, and you know, so there's a you know Giselle Shaw, you know that's another name. Like, you know, I would love to have a singles match with Giselle. Thunder Rosa, you know that's another one. Like her and I wrestled together in Stardom, you know, and like again, you want to kind of see where we're at after 10 years. You know what I mean? Because we'll be better. Have more experience. We'll have better insight. We'll have more wisdom. So, you know, there's I've just every single, you know, for OTT, I wrestled Amira Blair. That was the most fun I've had in a very, very, very long time, and because her personality is just so iconic. Do you know what I mean? She's got this big, huge personality, and that was different to the matches. You know, the matches I've done in the last 4 weeks. So that match. So there's you know there's so many names that like we're ticking off. And Alexxis Falcon's another one. You know, I'm going to be wrestling Alexis in Leeds. So I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of names out there that, either I've wrestled before or I've not wrestled yet that I'm excited to get in there with.
And do you have any final message to anyone who might be watching this or reading this and how they can support you, Damo, or Progress Wrestling as a whole, or just anything you want to tell them?
Stay tuned. I think people, who know my work, they've obviously like they know like Nikki is a superhero. They know Nikki is that crazy, feral little Tasmanian devil. They know the girl next door, you know what I mean, the best friend. So they've seen so many different iterations of me, but they've not, for fans that didn't follow me prior to WWE, they're now getting Nikki Storm the Best in the Galaxy, which is completely different to what I did for the last 10 years. So I would say like stay tuned because we've just scratched the surface, and same with Progress, it's going to be like, again, it's stay tuned because things are going to keep coming, things are going to keep happening. There's another reason why I did the newsletter because so much is happening, so much is going on, and I really want the fans to follow me on the journey. The newsletter kind of puts everything in the one place for them. So that again, it's like stay tuned, and we're so the support I've had, I've always known there was support there. But the amount of love and support over the last 5 months, since I got the call, that I had no idea. There's certain, people post about you or people say things and you had no idea the impact you had on someone. So that was like a lot of love and a lot of appreciation for me. And I was like, you're kind of taken back because, and I think it's just, I've always tried to, you know, have empathy and have understanding. And just for myself, I just want that to when fans see when fans see my journey, I just want them to kind of keep following that journey and enjoying it with me. And like I just want everyone to I really just want the the love of wrestling to always come through. I always want the love of wrestling and everything I do, whether it be the research, whether it be the newsletter, whether it be progress, whether it be my independent journeys, the love of wrestling, I want people to always come through. And I've seen nothing but love over the last 5 months. I don't quite know what I did to earn that. But I think, I always try and be the best person I can be. And I know that sounds really cheesy and, I'm not perfect and we're all kind of we keep learning as we go, but I just always want to try I'm just want to try my best, and for myself, for any final words, like I just always want people to be entertained, and keep following me on this journey and enjoy it with me. And I just think the love for wrestling shines through and just love for human beings. Do you know what I mean? And like just I really want that's what I want to leave people with is just, you know, whether I make them laugh, whether I make them boo me, whether I make them cheer, whether I make them feel something, that's kind of just what I want to leave people with is just a kind of lasting impression of, um, you know, having a good time and finding the beauty in wrestling, the really amazing side of wrestling.
For sure. I mean, that's why we're
Sorry,
all.
I rambled there. I always go on tangents.
You're good. Nah, for sure. I mean, that's the most important part about wrestling. We all love it. That's why we do. Like, that's why journalists cover it. That's why fans are fans of it. That's why wrestlers wrestle. Like, the love of the game. We all love it. And it's such an amazing world. You see a lot of negativity sometimes online, but you can't get wrapped up in that because
Oh, no,
uh,
it's
it's awesome. It's an amazing world. So
put the energy where it needs, put your energy where it needs to be, you know what I mean? And I just think it's a beautiful thing. Like I said, this industry has given me so much and it's just, I want to give back.
definitely. And for everyone watching this, be sure to go check out Progress Wrestling. A lot of great shows coming up on Hooked on Wrestling. Go down, watch the tape library. see all Tommy Yen stuff, which is insane. See all Walter stuff, also insane.
Yeah. So, so there's so much out there that, independent wrestling, there's so much content out there and there's so much more than ever there's ways to watch it.
Mhm.
So it's about, it is about supporting each other. It's about companies supporting other companies. It's about wrestlers supporting other wrestlers. It's about fans supporting wrestlers. It's based on support and love, you know what I mean? As
Yeah.
cheesy as that sounds.
No,
Sometimes a bit of cheese. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We love a bit of cheese. I love toast and cheese.
yeah.
We
It's,
cheese toast.
it's
All about the cheese. But
it's
I
true.
really mean it. You know what I mean? It's just about love and support.
Yeah. And Nikki, I do appreciate your time a ton because I love I could sit here and talk to you for hours, but I really appreciate taking the time out to do this. And I love talking to Damo as well. Please tell him I said thank you.
I know he had to run off to another meeting, so I'm sorry. You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
Like,
it's okay.
but
We're
best we can
good.
handle
But
it.
I do appreciate you guys taking the time out to do this because any chance I get to promote Progress Wrestling and promote your careers is I'll sign up for that. So
And we really appreciate it, Scott. Like, thank you for being supportive and thank you for always wanting to highlight and put that spotlight on independent wrestling and independent wrestlers. It's incredible. So thank you for your time and effort and energy as well.
like the pleasure's all mine. I love that I get the chance to do it, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk because it's a pleasure to work with you and Damo as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.